Hi, I'm Jill Rupp from June Tailor. Equilateral triangle quilts are so popular right now, and we make them very easy to construct with our Easy Equals ruler. Let me show you how it works. The Easy Equals ruler cuts perfect 60-degree triangles all the way from 1 inch up to 8.5 inches. So it's a nice big ruler. And you'll notice that there are dotted lines to note every 1/4 inch marking as well. So if your pattern calls for 2 1/4 or 4 1/2, all the markings exist on that ruler for you to accomplish those cuts. Note on the bottom that there are clipped corners, and this is going to help you during the sewing process by trimming your dog ears easily. The last feature I want to point out is note that there's holes at all 3 sides of the ruler, and you're going to actually be able to make a dot marking these holes and then connect the dots with a line, and that is going to be your sewing line. So you will have something to follow as you sew with pivot points at the position which you have marked. So to get started, the first thing we're going to do is determine what size triangle I need. My pattern calls for a 6-inch triangle, so I'm going to cut a 6-inch strip. I've got my 6-inch strip cut right here. Lay that anywhere on your cutting mat. Take the ruler and find the 6-inch mark, which is right here. Bring that to the bottom edge of your strip right here. So that means that the point should be at the very top of your strip, which it is. I'm going to make a cut here and a cut here and then flip the ruler. So for my first cut, I'm just going to cut on down to the side of the ruler like this, and I'll take that away. And then I'll make my second cut here, the left-hand side. Flip my ruler like this, and it should perfectly line up, and it does. Point at the bottom, my 6-inch line at the top, and I will continue to cut my triangles. Flip the ruler back, again line it up, 6-inch mark on the bottom of my strip, point on the top of my strip, and continue to cut like that until you have all your triangles cut out. Now let's learn how to mark and sew. You can cut your dog ears off before you begin to sew your triangles, or you can cut it after. It doesn't really matter. So you're just going to use the edge of the ruler, rotate your triangle like this, and trim those dog ears off, and that just makes for a lot less bulk when you're sewing. If you're constructing a triangle that is connected to another shape, such as a hexagon, you are going to want to use the open points on this ruler to mark your seam allowance positioning. So to do that, for example, you would line the ruler up on the wrong side and make a dot right on top. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. And what this does for you is it is a dot that you can make a connecting point to when you're sewing this to another shape, so you know never to sew beyond that dot or sew beyond that dot. And if you want to draw a line between the two, you can as well. When you're sewing triangle to triangle, it's straight seams. You don't need to worry about stopping at a seam allowance point. Sewing your triangles together is easy. Right sides together, put them one over the other, and sew in a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press, and that will give you this. Now we're going to add a green triangle on here as well, right sides together, and sew, and that will give you this. And we're going to keep building our rows by sewing triangle to triangle. When our entire row is built, it will look like this, a combination of all of our triangles. And then we will take the 2 rows and we will sew the 2 rows together, right sides, like this, right side sew in a 1/4 inch seam allowance to get this. And let me show you what that looks like. And you can continue to build upon your rows until you have exactly the size that you need. It's popular to connect equilateral triangles to hexagons, and you're definitely going to want to use the holes in the ruler to mark those dots, the 2 corners of your equilateral triangle. And what you're going to do then is sew from dot to dot, and that will be perfectly positioned to give you that 1/4 inch seam allowance stopping point that you're going to need. So you'll be sewing here, and then on the other side you'll do the same thing. You'll line up your equilateral triangle to the hexagon like this, and you'll sew from here to here. Once I have my sewing done, I flip this and press it open. So this is what it looks like from the back, and this is what it looks like from the front. Your next step is you're going to then join these pieces, and I have that done here. I have two of them done here. So you're going to take your triangle to hexagon like this, and that lines up perfectly. Sew in a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When we flip that open and press, you're going to see how your row is starting to form. Here's one that's done, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. I sewed in my 1/4 inch, flipped it open, and my row is starting to form between my hexagons and my equilaterals. Here's a little bit easier way for you to see how this looks. Here are 3 pieced together actually. And then when these rows are all done, then you're going to take row to row and take another row like this and right sides together and sew that along the top until you achieve all the rows that you want for your quilt. Equilateral triangle quilts can be as easy as combining equal sized triangles into rows and connecting them together, or you can add a little bit more visual interest by combining smaller triangles into one large one and using that within your row. So super easy or a little bit more complicated, you can make a great looking quilt with June Tailor's Easy Equals ruler.